Welcome to this tutorial on the Norand mono X mod and X envelope areas. I like to be in live mode. Let's start a new pattern, 14. The X mod area has 20 modulators, which covers every knob and button in this top section. The X envelope area has 13 envelopes, which covers all the knobs only in this section. Now it's best not to think, oh, what will I assign a modulator to, or what will I put an envelope on? It's probably better to think every one of these things already has a modulator on it. All of these knobs already has an envelope assigned to it. All you need to do is activate it and manipulate the parameters. So 14 is our new pattern. There's nothing in it. Turn down oscillator 2, turn up oscillator 1. We'll just make a little bass drum. There is a very low sine. Now when you want to select a parameter but not change it, because perhaps when you've programmed something it might be very finely adjusted, you might think, oh yes, the filter, I'll modulate that. And to activate it you need to give it a wiggle, but by giving it a wiggle now you've changed the sound. Now to avoid that you can hold down the function key, turn the knob. Another thing we might do while we're here is turn on visualization mode, triple click the function button. Now that helps because we can already see now that the frequency knob is lit. So whatever you're modulating will be lit. For example, we might want to do cutoff. Now we see cutoff is lit. That's pretty handy. Go back to oscillator 1. Now, as I say, all these 13 knobs already have an envelope assigned to them. We've selected oscillator 1 frequency. Now all we have to do is assign an amount. So there is the envelope activated on oscillator frequency. We've now got attack and decay. We'll adjust that. Straight away now we've got a kick drum, although being a kick drum we could sit here for the next half an hour at least tweaking little parameters. Now we could perhaps just add a little click to it. Function resonance. Now the resonance knob is activated. So say it's already got an envelope assigned to it, we'll just give it an amount. Make it very short. Not sure whether you can hear that. Makes it a bit more obvious there. Got a little click at the start now. Now let's say we like that. Function save. Let's have a look now at the Xmod section, the modulators. Norand prefers to call them modulators rather than LFOs because they go up into audio rate. Pattern mode, another empty pattern, press run, go into pattern. While we're here we might just make sure we're in the tempo we like, hold down tempo, I want to be in 90, so 90. Lengthen that out. Now, I said before, it's best to think of the envelopes and the modulators already being assigned and you just need to activate it, and we'll see that obviously here. Function cutoff, give it a little wiggle. Now it's lit, so cutoff is active. So let's activate the LFO, or just activate the amount. So there it is, we're hearing the LFO, and by default it's in free running mode and it's a sine wave. The original firmware in mono had 4 LFOs, which very conveniently follow what the oscillator is, which is sine, triangle, square and saw. So if we run and hit wave, we go to the next waveform. Let's speed up the rate a bit so we can just hear it a bit more obviously. As you go around the waveforms, it'll get progressively brighter. So that's triangle. With a second click, we're on square. The third, we're on sawtooth. And as of firmware 1.1.1, they've added sample and hold as a 5th waveform. And if you hit it again, you'll go back to the beginning, which is sine. Now, as well as the 5 waveforms, you've got 3 types. When it's not lit, it is in free running mode. When it's blinking, it's synced, which on off with a blink sort of makes sense. And adjusting the rate will give you different sync divisions. Might be a bit more obvious if we put in another note there. Take it down an octave. If we go through the waveforms again, now the third type, when it's fully lit, audio rate. So rate and amount. So it actually slows down quite a bit. That goes way up. Some audio rate goodness. Now we know that for every step in a pattern you can adjust the amount of something. So for example, we might want more resonance here. And in the same way, we can do that with the modulation. So, let's say we want no filter modulation on 9. So, function, you can see the modulation happening there. Function, give it a wiggle. Lights on, it's selected. Hold down the step. Put the amount back to 0. We could change the rate here. Put in another step. Cutoff is still selected. Put the rate up, put the amount up. Another step here. Cutoff still selected. So they're all doing cutoff modulation from the same modulator, but they have different rates and different amounts. What you can't do is between steps you can't change the type or the waveform. You can can change the amount and the rate, but there's a great deal of variations you can get in that, as we see. Now if we go back to our kick drum pattern, put in a couple more steps, which will be the snares. Now it all sounds like a kick drum at the moment because the kick drum was the base of the pattern that we created. Now we're going to modify a couple of steps to be different from that base sound. So press and hold here. I'll just work on this one for now. Oscillator 2 up. Give it some FM, put the frequency up. We will also function frequency. That's lit. So we'll activate the modulator for that one. Go into audio rate, full amount, full rate, adjust the decay, filter, resonance, envelope amount, just give it a little bit of a fiddle. So just like we added a little click to the kick drum, I might see whether we can add a little initial sort of transient hit. We'll do it with a filtered color, or at least we'll try. Function color, give it a wiggle, so that's lit. Activate the envelope for that. So I've got a little click there as well. Let's function copy 5, function paste 13, 15, 16. Might decide that the decay envelope isn't quite right there, so let's modify a couple of those steps. Now, in fact, modulating the filter color for the entire pattern might be nice there, so let's try that. Give it a wiggle. Sync it. You can see how you can very easily create interesting little modifications, variations if you were doing multiple patterns. Sounds a bit like a sniffling dog. Well, let's say we like that. Function save. Let's create a couple of variations of this. Because we've got pattern run record, which toggles live mode on and off, we can make variations without fear of losing what we've already got. If we don't hold a step, if we just start twiddling knobs, then it's going to change the basic structure or the basic underlying sound of the whole pattern. That will include the kick drum. Could be dangerous, but let's see what happens. Well, not a huge variation, but let's say we like that. Function copy 14, function paste to 15. So there's the variation. Go back to 14. There's the original. Another way we can create a variation to this is by doing things in record mode. This will actually record transpositions via the MIDI keys and also automation of parameters. Let's just give it a go. Well, predictably that's horrible, so function undo. Let's give it another go. That didn't work either. Let's try something different. Let's go down a couple of octaves. Nope. Let's well, somebody might like it, but let's say we do like it. Function copy 15, function paste 16. Now I've got that as a variation. Let's see the three what we've got. There's the original. And here's the awful one with automation. And with a little bit of programming effort, you can turn it into something a bit more complex than would seem to be coming from a mono synth. One nice little final thing to look at, new pattern here, nothing in there at the moment. Function scale, pick the root note, E, pick a scale. Notes show up on the little mini keyboard. Lengthen the envelope. Now I've got a scale selected. We're going to put it into record mode, so we're recording automation. Now when we move these oscillators, they will quantize to the scale. So I'm automating the volume of the mixer. Get rid of that. Lovely having an undo. So we'll take it out of record mode there, just so we can turn up the second oscillator. Just want to make it a bit higher. Now we'll put it back into automation mode. Now we'll fiddle with the pitch of the second oscillator, and you can watch it here. Now you can tell from that, let's say we made it a bit slower, went to 64 steps, spent some time getting a beautiful sound. and you can get a very subharmonican sort of style thing happening. Until next time, see ya.